Hello, woman beings, and welcome. We're so excited to be here today with the beautiful Miss Sarah Parker. She is the owner of the Pretty Peach Waxing Studio. She has been my personal waxer for, like 3 years now.
It's my joy.
All my married life, basically. And we're going to talk with her today about body positivity. She's going to bring beautiful perspective as a more curvy woman, as well as getting to see women's bodies in potentially a more vulnerable state every day. So we're excited. We hope you're excited. And without further ado, let's dive right in. Welcome to the Woman Being Podcast community,
where we explore thoughts and opinions
and have the freedom to change our minds
without expectation or judgment.
We will hold a safe space and support each other
as we navigate together in the form of feminine.
All right, so Miss Sarah,
yes,
could you please give us a quick synopsis of your life story and tell us, why did you decide to start waxing? What drew you to that field?
Well, once upon a time, as all good stories go.
Story time
with Sarah. So I'm from Indiana. I was basically life coached through the drive-thru one day, which is a great story, but a long one, so we'll save it for another day, where a lady asked me if I was really trying to make that a career and if I really loved working at Starbucks. And I was like, not like forever. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, what do you want to do? What do you love? And I'm like, I don't know. So, which drew me to what I actually hate, which is women hating their bodies. And pretty much any and every woman that I had ever talked to all hated their bodies. So she was like, how can you profit that? How can you make that into a career? And I went to cosmetology school, which eventually led me out here to California. And I got a job at a great company that taught me how to be a speed waxer. And then a few years later, I created the Pretty Peach.
Love it.
Amazing.
And you are a speed waxer.
Very sweet.
I am in and out in 15 minutes. It's amazing.
It's not a massage. We're not trying to hang out.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make it like an experience.
I want to hang out, but.
Yeah. Anytime, babe. Anytime.
But that's why we have you here.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Oh, I love that. And I love how you said you were tired of women hating their bodies. Mm-hmm. And I understand, I used to be a bra specialist at Victoria's Secret, and that was my thing. It was so sad to hear women talk about their bodies the way they do every day. Mm-hmm. And, women coming in and apologizing for not wearing makeup.
Yep.
And my hair's greasy. I'm like, girl, I don't care. Right. I'm here to make you feel good in your skin, to make you feel beautiful. And that's what I feel like waxing does. It's really we're actually going to take away what might be distracting from your beautiful form.
Yes.
Is what I see it as.
That's
so
cool.
My first time getting waxed was at your beautiful establishment.
Thank you.
And I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I think I was nervous up until the point that I was literally nervous all day. And I was like, Kelly, when we're done with this, we're going out to ice cream.
We went and got ice cream.
And that was the only thing that got me through, was I was looking forward to ice cream. And I realized in the midst of it, and talking to you and talking to Kelly, is that I, as a Christian woman, and I think a lot of Christian women have this, is we walk into the salon feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I know nothing about it. There's hair down there. It's scary. Do you get that a lot? Is that?
Yes.
And what have you noticed about the way that Christian women view their vaginas?
I think a lot of, especially younger, single, not yet married Christian girls, it's kind of a non-thing, completely separate from their body, that they randomly have to manage and deal with if they so choose. And it's usually really awkward. They're usually very modest and not, a lot of them haven't had even pap smears yet or anything like that. So I'm literally the first person that they've gotten buck naked in front of. And it's super real. And a lot of them are tugging down their t-shirts to get, and I'm like, okay, we're going to actually have to see everything. Like, I need to see her all, and it's going to be okay. But yeah, I think a lot of Christian girls are, they like separate their bodies and their vaginas to not really to be its own little separate entity from their bodies, deal with it when they have to, hurry up and get over it, and then like go back to normal everyday life if they deal with it at all. And being like, hey, she's there, she's with you, she has been since the very beginning. It's not gonna like hurt you emotionally. It doesn't have to. And it might hurt for a second physically, but we're gonna be okay, and we're gonna get through this. And being like, kind of bridging the gap of being like, your vagina is a part of you, and it doesn't have to be awkward and weird. It doesn't have to like be set on the shelf for the such as time of this of actually being married and like being sexually engaged. I think the non-church girls are much more chill about it and not nearly as modest. And even if they haven't been like naked in front of them, a lot of people, I think they're much more just like, okay, here I am. I'd say not much more, just as afraid of the pain, but I would say they're like, okay, here I am, and I'm naked, and this is weird, but whatever, let's do it. So waxing people who are church girls, well, you can spot them a mile away, and you just know that it's probably going to be a weird experience for them, and you're just going to have to kind of hold their hand and get through it.
Why do you think that is, though? Well, I mean, I know why it is, but it just feels like in the church maybe in families, we've failed to like let young girls know that this is your vagina and it's okay and it's not embarrassing and there's nothing wrong with it, and
for some reason it's like separate from your personhood.
Right.
It's like far away, even like emotionally.
Yeah.
I think it's even like separate from the idea of purity, modesty, cleavage. Like, we talk about like wearing shirts that are modest and pure, like in purity church culture, to harken back to previous episodes that you should totally listen to.
Thanks for the plug.
Thank you.
But I think it's its own separate, like, well, of course it's covered, because it either has like at the very least like a bikini bottom on or like your underwear on, so it's always 100% covered. So the idea of like her coming out and, you know, being waxed or hygienically taken care of in any other way than just like a shower or a bath is like, wait, what? We do something like, and we actually have hair down there, and we might actually have hair in our butt crack. Like, what? Like, nobody actually talks about that. And is it wrong to take care of the hair? Does that mean that I'm actually having sex or that somebody's supposed to be seeing it? Is it just done for hygiene reasons? For me, it's really about hygiene. Here in Reading, summers are nasty and hot, and having hair down there is not feeling awesome. So I personally choose to remove it, and I'm team hair removal. However, I'm also team, like, if you're not about that, then that's totally okay. And there should be no shame in wanting to keep some hair, not doing anything with it whatsoever. If you're happy with it and the skin you're in and the hair that you're in, then I think everyone should do what they feel is right. But I feel like nobody actually has a conversation, like, in church about, like, hey, so there's eventually going to be some hair down there. You have an opportunity to do something about it. And to this day, like, growing up in all things purity culture in my house, and my mom's a nurse, so I was told about all things puberty from a very, like, medical clinical standpoint. Like, I could tell you all the words in the textbooks from textbook language, which was awesome, and I fully support. But she never really talked about the idea of removing hair. And to this day, she can, like, it boggles her mind that I'm able to actually make a living doing what I do. And I'm like, Mom, you shave your legs, you cut your hair. And she's like, nope, God made hair. It's supposed to be there. And I'm like, false, because you shave your legs. So already your argument is, like, undercut. And she's like, well, it's just weird. And I'm like, that's cool. You don't have to. But it's not wrong if you do. And I feel like there should be more of, like, a let's be aware of it. So it like we branch out from this whole idea that it has to be weird and scary and awkward to being like, if you choose to, awesome. If you don't choose to, awesome. But at least like be aware that it's on the table.
Yeah.
That almost connects to, like, this wasn't my personal experience, but I know a lot of young Christians grow up thinking that, like, sexy underwear is wrong to have.
Oh, yeah, the matching sets. Could not.
That was my favorite.
Even
when I got my first pretty, like, grown-up underwear, I was, like, 14.
Yeah.
And we'd go over to Wet Seal, and we'd get their, like, 5 for $10.
Yeah.
And my mom would always take me, and it was my favorite.
But there's perceptions like that on the churches that, like, if you wear anything sexy down there, it's wrong somehow.
Right.
And so that kind of ties into getting waxed or plucked or shaved or whatever, is that, like, you shouldn't be doing anything sexy down there. But when I got waxed this first time, this was, like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. It was pre-2020. Yeah. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I've never felt, like, so clean and sexy and, like, taken care of. And so it was a really amazing feeling that I had always wondered about but had never felt before. And but yeah, just this conception or concept in my head, perception is probably the word I'm thinking of, that, like, oh, you can't be too sexy down there even though it's all covered up anyways.
It's so funny because I feel like a lot of women that I know who either get waxed or who wear thongs, it's not necessarily for a sexy thing. Like, women will get waxed so that then they don't have to worry about their hair coming out when they go swimming.
Yeah.
And women will wear thongs because they don't like having panty lines. Like, it's not that you necessarily are doing it. Like, you very well, that may be also part of it to be sexy for your husband or your boyfriend or whatever. But, like, I think that there's so much more to it. I mean, it makes me think about the example that I think of in my head is birth control. So, like, a lot of women will take birth control and aren't sexually active at all because they're taking it for other reasons. And, like, I think that there's a perception that if a woman's taking birth control, she must be promiscuous if she's not married and she's taking it or something like that. Like, I remember girls in my high school, if they took birth control, it was like, oh,
You're sexually active.
yeah.
Totally.
And it was like, no, I have really bad acne, or my period kills me every month, and I need this to regulate it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's, like, just the normal women double standards. Like, thongs. Like, don't be too sexy, but also you can't show your panty line. It's like, so what am I supposed to do? Like,
Wear baggy pants.
Wear baggy pants or skirts. It's just, like, it's the double standards are just mind-boggling. And, like, no wonder why women, like, sometimes can't make decisions because or at least for me, I won't say women, me, it's hard sometimes to make decisions because I feel paralyzed sometimes by all the expectations. And I'm just like, you know what, just remove those and just do what feels comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what was your own process of self-acceptance and body love then in becoming a waxer? Did you have a journey? Were you always comfortable and you have kind of stepped into this role of helping other women gain that? Or did you have a journey as well to learning to be comfortable?
Well, the very first day I worked at my very first job, I wasn't, like, trained yet in doing Brazilians at all. But the receptionists didn't get that memo.
Oh, no.
So I had 3 Brazilians on my book for first day, and I was like, oh, this is bad. Because you don't say no to a client because that's money for the spa. So I went to my boss, and I'm like, first day panicking, and this was, like, my first, like, big girl job, and I'm like, so there is a miscommunication, and please fix it right now. And she's like, oh, I got you. I need a Brazilian. And she was just a business owner, not just a business owner, but she wasn't in the beauty industry herself. She was just an owner of the place. So she was like, I can look at this from the objective standpoint as a client. I'll let you know if you suck. Come do this. And I'm like, all right, this is the first time I get to see someone naked, and she's my boss. And I was like, this just got super real, and I'm gonna, like, straight face it, and it's gonna be awesome. And I'm terrified. And I was not a speed waxer at that point, so there were definitely 45-minute appointments that were booked out. I did my first one on her in an hour and 15, which now is terrifying. But I did a decent job, and she's like, you're good. It's going to be longer than what we planned. We'll just add some more time. It'll be fine. You can do this. And I was like, okay. So, this is a woman's body. And I quickly, like, Googled, so I would see more than just her, what, like, vaginas look like on, like, on my lunch break. I'm, like, Googling, like, plus size person, like, pregnant lady. And I was just like, I feel so wrong doing this, but I can't have, like, somebody lay down and it be, like, the first time I've ever seen anyone like this.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it is. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to, like, I was like, I need a game plan of how I'm going to, like, approach this wax. Because this training really wasn't a training. Like, there was a fail there in communication and planning, and I was supposed to actually have a full training later. But we were just making it work. And so that was really waxing under fire.
Yeah.
It was awkward and awesome. And how they initiate you at European Wax Center, what they do is pretty much on your first day, like, you're a guinea pig and you get waxed by whoever is available. And there's several people in the room. And the idea is you get used to the idea of nakedness and people seeing you naked. And then somebody else volunteers and she drops trout, and it's just kind of like a revolving door of, like...
Oh, I love that.
And so it's like, okay, we're naked. We're seeing each other naked. Like, nothing is bad is happening at the end of this wax. Like, we're fine. We're naked. We're moving on, and it's cool. We're all naked. We've all seen each other.
What a way to bond with your coworkers.
I know.
Wow,
That is
I was just like,
intimate.
well, this is happening. And since I had already seen plenty of naked people at that point, I was just like, but no one had seen me. And there's 5 other people in that room. And it was real. And they were all straight-sized people. And I was like, what the heck? Let's just do it. And I did it. And, like, nothing bad happened afterwards. And we all talked today, and they're very cool people. And it was fine. So I was just like, you know, no one blinked at me. Like, no one looked away from my body. No one acted like I was too much, or that, like, holding back my stomach was too much. Okay, I can do this too. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And so I was able to then really feel, since at my previous job, it was waxing amongst facials and massaging and other spa services, so it only happened sporadically. But at your European Wax Center, it's the only thing you do. At the Pretty Beach, it's the only thing I do. So it was like, okay, from here on out, you're going to see a lot of naked all the time, all different body types. Don't flinch, because nobody flinched on me, so I can totally do this, and it's going to be fine. And so being able to take someone who is, regardless of their shape and size, hating their body, which you can tell 2 seconds into the door, and being like, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to flinch. You're not too much for me. I don't care if you're postpartum, prepartum, elderly, overweight, underweight, whatever. You're safe here, and we can get through this together, and I'm going to make this as quick as I possibly can and as painless as I possibly can, so you leave feeling like I was efficient, like I was thorough, and like I took care of you. And that's really what my aim game is. And so since the whole reason why I got into the waxing industry was to help people feel like they're beautiful, it's like, whether or not I'm able to actually have a conversation of, like, let's talk all things body positivity or not, it's like, I want them to know that I looked at their body and I didn't flinch. And whether that's a brow, an arm, a leg, a hand wax, which is very common in, like,
A hand wax.
yeah, in the Indian population for henna and stuff like that. It's like, I looked at their skin and I didn't flinch.
And you're so good at that. Honestly, like, I had been to, I think, 3 or 4 different wax people before I found you, and I went once and I didn't go back. And it wasn't because they flinched, it was just because I was like, I don't actually feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel safe. And I found you, and I was like, wow, I actually feel, like, embraced. Like, my body feels, like, safe. And, like, I had struggled with being very curvy on the bottom half of my body. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, Sarah makes me feel really comfortable. I felt that intention of, like, I'm not gonna flinch, I'm embracing your body, and it feels, like, so safe. And I'm like, ugh, these other ladies bless them, love them. But I was like, yeah, I'm not going back.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's like the intention behind the service is like so healing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you have like I know you said your mom is a nurse, and I feel like a good nurse makes you feel like I've seen it all and I'm going to take care of you.
Like you're not too much for me.
Yeah, a good nurse always makes you feel like so cared for and like, you know, like that. I've seen it all. Mm-hmm. And you're okay. You're a normal human. And there's just something really comforting about stepping into something like that where you're scared and walking away and being like, oh, like, I just have a vagina and that's it. And it's part of like learning how to accept it as a part of my body and not like this separate entity. So it's good stuff.
And think like I've had so many people ask me, am I normal? One labia is longer than the other. One labia is larger than the other. I feel really puffy up top, like so many different things. Is it normal to have butt cheek hair along with butt strip hair? Like all of it, yes. Like,
the answers,
yes. And just like how a face, like we all have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, but how they show up is completely different. Mm-hmm. Even if you're the same nationality, it can look completely different from one person to another. The same is true for vaginas. And I think the porn industry has done a huge disservice unless you're looking at niche porn, which I hear is a completely different subset. Mm-hmm. But I've waxed a lot of dancers and a lot of people who do film, and they've said that only 1/18 of the women percentile is able to do full frontal shots. So
because like that specific look qualifies for what the porn industry accepts.
Yes. And so the vaginas that the world are viewing only look one way.
That's amazing. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So again, only if you're looking at something that's niche or specific, you only see one subset of what everyone look like. And so people who are like, oh, my skin might be darker or more purple, do I need to do anal bleaching, all of that. And then there's the, like, you might able to do, like, full frontal, like, labia shots, vagina shots, but you might not be able to be that same person who's able to do an anal shot. So that might be a completely different person that they, like, cut and paste and make on the same person.
Wow.
So it's, like, the same is true for anything anal. And I'm not trying to, like, be graphic for our listeners. I apologize if this got too deep. But it frustrates me because so many people come in and are like, oh my God, like I don't look like any of the videos my boyfriend pulls out. And I'm like, sweetie, like none of us are. And there's only like a very small group of people that actually do look like that. And since porn is so very prevalent and no shame to people who like choose to watch it, purchase it, film it, whatever, like that's not the point here. The point is it only looks one way unless you're looking at something that's more specialized and niche. And so it teaches people that your body should only look one way if you're actually pretty or sexy.
Wow.
And that's not fair.
Ooh,
Well, not like how many of those women, I think you said 1/18 of the population, how many of those women have had surgery to make their vagina look that way, get bleaching and waxing regularly? I mean, like, there's so many vagina treatments you
Labiaplasty
can get.
is huge right now.
It's such a big thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's that's mind-boggling to me.
So my answer to them is, does it work? Does she do all the things she's supposed to do? Then you're golden.
Yeah, that's what matters. Like this is your body functioning properly.
Is she
Are you
happy and
healthy?
healthy?
Yeah, that's what matters. I don't think that your boyfriend or husband is gonna look at your slightly longer one labia than the other and be like,
they should just be happy
not gonna
down there.
not gonna have sex with you because of that lopsided or because of the color of that, you know, like unless there's something actually wrong with you, then
Which there probably isn't.
like probably unless you have a illness, then everything is fine. And I think one of the amazing things that people who work in like the beauty industry get to see and get to do is kind of is that normalization of things, because whether you're like when you're providing this like personal service to somebody, you are seeing such a variety of people and seeing the whole gamut of ways that people look, whether you're waxing them or if you're doing somebody's makeup or you're cutting somebody's hair or whatever, like all these different things, or if you're a masseuse, like you are seeing the human body and such a wide gamut of the human body that you can actually show people like, hey, this is normal. Yeah. I can say that because I have seen every kind of body that there is, you know, and I think that we commoners, the plebeians of the world who are not working in the beauty industry, like we see like movies or porn or models or whatever, and they have this very specific ideal that you then apply all to the rest of society when actually there is no standard across the board. There is a beauty standard that's been put in place by culture, but there is no actual standard way that people look. Like people are diverse and they look so many different ways, and to apply one way of looking, one style, one body type, one vagina type, whatever you want to call it, like to apply those to everyone is totally unrealistic and ridiculous, you know? But I guess we sort of touched on this some, but I want to know, like, what are the kind of sort of body insecurities that you see crop up in women as you're waxing them, as you're spending this time with them? Like, what are some of those things that you see women sort of battling with?
I mean, it can go anywhere from like, oh my God, please don't look at my legs because I didn't shave them. Like, I couldn't care less. To my 3 babies that I had, like, killed my stomach, and this is what I'm left with, all these rolls and all this loose skin, which is so sad. And so, like, this is the, like, cruelty that's been given to me. This is my lot in life for having, like, these 3 amazing kids, is they wrecked my body. And I'm like, oh, like, as somebody who's not a mom, it's like I don't even have words. Yeah. And I can't relate to that personally as someone who has never had children, but it's like, I'm like, your body is a whole different kind of beautiful now because it's held something for 9 months. Yeah. And that's like amazing. It's crazy. And insane. And the fact that, like, the privilege of being able to do so. So to me, it's like the cellulite is, and all of that, it's like the battle scars is something that you, like, were able to achieve together, you in this little life. Like, so that all the time, discoloration, like, I'm so sorry that I'm so purple. And wow.
You're like,
no.
I forgive you.
Especially,
how dare you?
Especially those people who are in, like, darker skin. And I'm like, your body is so beautifully normal. And you're safe. It's okay. But, like, I'm sorry I have to hold up my tummy. It's so fat. Like, especially in COVID. Like, I've gained the COVID 20 and
the COVID 19.
The COVID 19
like,
plus.
Same girl. Same.
And just like I'm so fat. I have to hold up my skin for you. My body is, like, so hairy. I'm so sorry. It's been, like, I'm like, it's been however long it's been. To, like, there's no too long of hair that's going to gross me out. Like, you can have full-on tendrils and it happens, and that's not going to gross me out. We're just going to take care of it. And actually, the longer it is, the easier it is to wax on my end, so you're fine.
Yeah, there you go. You should say thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, world. You're welcome. So, like, yeah, just all the time, just, like, showing up in the skin that you're in. And it's often an apology. And it's hard for, like, I have to hold myself back from, like, getting angry at it, because it's like, you're just fighting something that you're not going to win. But so I just, you know, try to reassure them that they're safe. I'm not judging. They're allowed to be how they are. I think what's frustrating, though, is that, like, I can't fix it all in 15 minutes. Like, I can't change a lifetime of body shame and body hating and insecurities in a 15-minute session. All I can let them know is that, like, I got you. I'm going to take care of this. And you're going to come out the other side a little more hairless, and I'll see you in 4.
Yeah. And I mean, in a lot of ways, your job, your industry is very reliant on a lot of these beauty standards that we have, right? Like, obviously there's the hygienic reasons to get waxed and things like that, but also I know when I was growing up, I thought body hair was so gross. Like, I would shave my arms, my legs, my cooch, like every single day religiously.
Wow.
Like, I would not go anywhere without hair.
And
or
what's
with
that
hair.
ingrown situation like? Ouch.
I never really got ingrown hairs. I don't think I've ever had one. I know.
Some people are unicorns.
Yeah.
You just
So, no.
blessed from
ever.
God.
Yeah, no.
Kelly should.
I actually just like pulled
I
out
didn't
my
even-
ingrowns the other
My
day.
whole life is ingrown hairs. People.
I didn't even know what they were until a couple of years ago because it never happened.
Wow.
But anyways, that's a whole different tangent.
I'm so blown away.
Exfoliate often.
Yeah, exfoliate often.
But I was like so disgusted by hair. And now I'm not really like that. I feel like especially being a missionary for a year helped with that because I like couldn't shave a lot of times and now I'm a lot more chill about it. But I like was so afraid of body hair in a sense because I thought this is a mark of like ugliness, essentially, like this is a mark of disgust because, our world has told us that body hair is not feminine and that body hair is not good, that this is a bad thing that you need to remove. So I'd be curious to hear some of your thoughts on that. Like how do you navigate sort of this balance of like women embracing their bodies, but also like not wanting women to like feel sort of disgusted by their bodies in either direction,
I would say it's definitely a tension. So I try to approach it being like, if this is what you want, then I'm here for it. There's some people who leave a landing strip or a triangle or intentionally leave their butt hair and don't take all of it. And I'm just like, whatever you want is totally good for me. And again, I'm not going to make a face and be like, about what, why? If you decide to leave your butt hair when there's clearly butt hair to be removed. I think I just try to go into it being like, it's all open. Whatever's on the table, the entire table of contents of services is open to you. And if you choose to have one thing done and not the other, if you choose to wax your eyebrow but leave your lip hair, cool. If you decide to wax your chin hair and not do your brows because you want them to be like all natural and unruly, cool. And I'm here for it. If you ask me if there's something that I think needs to be waxed, I'll assess the situation and give you my honest feedback. But there's a lot of people who feel like they need to get like their entire face waxed, like sideburns, cheeks, forehead, all of it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But I intentionally don't wax my arms. I intentionally don't do a full face wax because I want people to know, even as a waxer, that like I'm team hair. I'm team arm hair. I'm team like sideburn hair. If you have some, awesome. If you choose to remove it, awesome. I like wax my legs. I do Brazilians. I do underarm waxing. I do lip, brows, and chins on myself on the regular. And that's what I feel good in. But there's a lot of waxers out there who are like from head to toe naked little mole rats, and
Just a seal.
that's awesome. And if that's what they choose, that's cool. But I want to advocate that like you're able to do what you feel comfortable in. When I have underarm hair, I feel sweaty. When I have Brazilian hair, I feel sweaty. And I feel like not as fresh and not as clean. And I want to feel that way. So I decide to wax those. And I'm also like, if you decide to shave some and you decide to wax some, like that's cool too. Like a lot of it's financial and time and the grow out period of choosing to get waxed versus shaved, and that's fine too. So I try to be team whatever you would like to do. I'm here for it. I'm here to be the neutral party. You would tell me what you want to get done and I will do it. If you're asking me if you should get it done, I'm only going to say only if you really want to. Because there's no shoulds. and waxing.
Oh,
There's no
that's
shoulds.
good.
Well, there's no shoulds in beauty either.
No.
I mean, there are some hygiene things that we need to do. Like, we need to wash ourselves.
Yes.
And,
Shower frequently.
You know, like, wash our face and, you know, take care of our skin, etc. But when it comes to, like, should you wear makeup, shouldn't you? Or, you know, do you need to wear a thong so that you don't have underwire lines, or shouldn't you? It's actually more about just, like, what do you feel confident and comfortable in, and what serves you, and that's what you should do.
Yeah. And I think that I've seen so many women that have just such false views of their own body. And like you were talking about getting like different parts of your face waxed, and how some people want like their whole face waxed. And I have friends who would be like, oh, my mustache hair is like so long right now, or oh, like I have so much hair right here on the side of my face. And I'm literally looking at them like, no, you don't. Like, I don't even see it. And I think that we sort of magnify our flaws, and are so overly we overly scrutinize ourselves.
Absolutely.
And are our own worst critic, really. And I think that there is definitely that balance and that line of like, am I doing this for myself because this is going to make me feel comfortable, or this is something that I just like the look of, or whatever, or am I doing this because I feel pressure to do it, or because I feel gross or something, or I'm like trying to measure up to some girl that I saw on Instagram, you know? Like, I even think about with makeup, when I was like going into my 20s, I stopped wearing makeup for like 2 years because I was like, this is not something that's healthy for me. And then I slowly like got back into wearing makeup again, and my relationship with it had totally changed from like feeling like I couldn't leave the house without makeup on before, feeling so insecure about how my makeup looked, feeling so insecure about my face, not wanting to go swimming because people would see my bare face, things like that, where it's like, now, after going like 2 years with absolutely no makeup and still having breakouts, still having all sorts of skin issues that I would have wanted to cover up, to then start wearing makeup again, that totally changed my relationship with it. And I think that we just get so caught up in looking a certain way, without necessarily reflecting on, why do we want to look this way? Why do we want to do this? Is this from my own motivation? Is this for my own comfort, for my own joy? Or is this because of measuring up to the image that somebody else has given me, you know? And I think that there's that line in pretty much everything that you do to yourself, you know, whether it's waxing, whether it's makeup, whether it's the way you dress, the way you do your hair, like all of those things fall into that. How much you exercise, like all of it. So, and TED Talk.
I'm here for the TED Talk.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, oh my God, like, I know I need to go 4 weeks until my next wax, but from week 3, when it's like, it could be wax, but it's a little too short, to actual week 4, they're like, my guy, he can't touch me, like, hands off. And I'm like, that's so sad. Because they don't feel sexy, they don't feel feminine, and they're like apologizing to him for the state of their hair. But they know that is better than shaving because of ingrowns and all of that. And so they wax, and I'm like, we lost the plot somewhere. Like, we lost the plot hard.
Right.
That's so sad.
And that, it frustrates me. And I'm just like, if he thinks you're gross,
get a new man.
Get a new one.
I don't want to. Like,
He's not it.
he should be just happy that he gets to be in the room with you. Like,
Well, no, it's about like, are you motivated by fear? And either way, whether you wax or don't wax, or put makeup on or don't put makeup on, or whatever, like, if your end result is that you're hiding something you're ashamed of, like, that's not healthy. And that's not loving yourself, or being neutral towards yourself. And there's like a value in recognizing, like, this is my body, this is who I am, and I'm comfortable and content in the skin that I'm
I think that's why representation matters so much.
definitely.
Because people need to, like, not be in an echo chamber of only one school of beauty.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like your own body image is held to a certain standard by being in the industry? Like, do you have people sort of expect, you talked about like waxing your face or only waxing certain parts. Do you feel upheld to a certain standard in order to do your job, I guess?
Yeah, I would say I definitely, I don't look like a lot of my peers as far as how I choose to dress. A lot of people in the beauty industry wear all black, which I do sometimes, and they look very coiffed and beautiful and stylish and wear boots all day, and I'm rocking the Birkenstocks, sometimes barefoot, sometimes in sandals, and I'm from the Midwest, so I don't get cold, like, all the time over here in Northern California, and I intentionally dress down and casually to set people at ease. I'm just like you. I know what it's like to go into a salon and see people, like, super makeuped out and really beautiful, and their hair is amazing, and you're just like, I will never be on your level.
And you're just like, I'm a normal human.
Right, I'm just a little peon over here, and I'm gonna walk out with great hair, but, like, nothing about my fashion, my clothes, my face, or anything will ever be on your level, and you're, like, way up here. Even if they're not trying to present themselves in a way that's uppity or snobby, it can feel like I'm not a part of it. And I really wanted to super intentionally cultivate an atmosphere and culture at the Pretty Peach where we're just here to hang. And you can come in your sweats, in your little gym shorts. You can come, like, straight out of the office in your lawyer clothes, in your scrubs. I have a lot of people from the medical community. However you happen to just be coming out of your everyday life, and come into your appointment and see a girl who's, like, just there and here for you.
And I love that too, because, like, I've found in my own personal experience with, like, if you go get, your hair done or your nails done or a facial or whatever, you actually, maybe it's not everyone, but from my own experience, I have felt leaving, like, something about me didn't match. And that's what I love about how you approach your business, is it's like I actually leave feeling like I am more myself. And, like, I actually love the practice of, like, actually being able to see all of your beautiful parts and being like, oh, look, there's me. Like, she's stunning. She's here. But I also am like, I don't get waxed every 4 weeks. I do, like, a couple months, and then once it's like, oh,
Her
I'm too
hair growth is
hairy.
slower, guys. She's not normal.
Or it's like, oh, I'm getting there, like, it's a little long and it's getting uncomfortable, and then I'm like, oh, it's time to go see Sarah again. But again, I leave feeling very myself, and I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So then, as we're talking about, like, the practice of waxing, how you can embody your femininity and be comfortable, like, you've seen it all. Like, I used to measure boobs for a living, so I can tell you all the boob things. I'm like, what would you recommend for women to get more comfortable in their bodies? Because you see all the things every day. And then how would you recommend women actually get more educated about their bodies? Because I feel like those are two things you probably come up against every day, of, like, women maybe not feeling fully educated about their bodies, but also, like, women that aren't fully comfortable in their bodies.
I would say stand in front of a mirror naked on the regular and actually, like, look. And I hear all the time, like, people get dressed real quick, and the only time they really stand in front of a mirror and look at themselves is to put on makeup or do their hair. And so everything is, like, very, like, shoulders up, or, like, a quick glance at the outfit before you walk out the door. But it's never, like, taking in all of yourself. And I feel like it's a beautiful practice of self-love and just, overall awareness to, like, stand in front of the mirror on the regular and be like, are we good? Like, any new moles, any new lumps and bumps I need? Like,
even just medically.
On a medical level, like, that's smart to do. And then, like, see what's happening downstairs and actually be like, yep, I have a vag. Like, she is there, and know what her parts are. Like, pull up, a Google page and figure out, like, I think it's sad that so many people don't know what a labia is, don't know what a mons pubis is, don't know the difference between a clitoris and a urethra. Like, it's mind-blowing. And I'm like, this is like 7th grade health class that we all probably did the class and, like, crammed and dumped the information, and we never actually retained, like, anything about ourselves. And it's sad to me because it's And like if medically, if something was wrong with you, you would probably have no idea unless it got to the point of actually hurting. And you should just know what's on your body and actually be in touch with it and not just like shower and leave and get dressed and walk out the door. Like, I feel like there's something really beautiful and intimate and honest and raw and maybe sometimes ugly and scary about like getting naked and like looking at your parts and being like, oh, this is what it's like. This is how it feels. This is what like hurts and doesn't hurt, and what it looks like at different points, like parts of the month, you know. There's swelling that happens and it's normal, and I've had people at different parts of their cycle be like, oh my god, I feel like swollen, like am I okay? And I'm like, not medically licensed to give you advice, but yes, that's usually normal, but consult your doctor. And I'm like, these are the things we should know, but so many people don't, because they don't like actually have a conversation with their body. And
I remember first getting married, trying to figure out like, what is going on? And my husband's like, tell me what's happening. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, and so like I had to learn about my body just as much as he did. So for all you woman beings and pretty peaches out there, just look. Get yourself a little mirror, have a look-see, and it's not going to kill you, and it's 100% okay, and it's you. And I think that was huge for me in beginning the process of accepting my body for what it is. Because I won't say that I've arrived anywhere. I think I'm on a journey, just like we all are.
It's a journey. Well, and I think that journey continues past, even younger womanhood, like even like 20s and 30s, and then like if you have kids,
right?
Like they actually don't talk about how your female body continues to change prepartum, postpartum, into menopause. Like it is truly a lifelong journey that I feel like I'm just starting. Which is amazing. I love it.
The oldest lady I've ever given a Brazilian to is 82. She's the goat. She was amazing, and she was like, why would I stop taking care of myself when it makes me feel good?
Yeah.
And she's like, but stuff they don't tell you is how your vagina ages.
Yeah.
She's like, she ages, it's okay. Yeah. But she still works how you want her to work. And I'm like, yes, queen.
Just like any other body part,
Yes.
Yeah.
All of your organs inside are also aging with you.
Yeah.
They all still work fine.
Yeah.
And the ones that are on the outside also still work fine. It's...
Yeah. And aging is beautiful.
It is.
It is part of the process. It is the way that the world works.
Yeah.
And, the wrinkles and the smile lines and
crow's feet.
Yes.
The crow's feet, all those
lived
beautiful.
A story.
Yeah, like that's the story of God's work on your life on Earth. And
I remember I always thought growing up, my mom got married older. She got married, older. I think her and my dad got married when she was 36, and then she had me 5 years later. And then she had 4 children. And I remember thinking that was always the most beautiful part about her face. I loved her smile lines, and I loved her crow's feet, because it told me that she was happy. And even in my earlier 20s, like I walked through that process of like, oh, I get to wear like the happiness of my life on my face, even though I'm like, we're gonna take care of this, we're gonna support my face, but also like I'm kind of, part of me is excited for the days that it's like you're gonna see the happiness that I've lived on my face.
That's so pure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My grandma would always tell me, sorry, I started getting emotional. Okay. My grandma would always tell me to make sure that I smiled a lot, because she would be like, when I was younger, I frowned a lot, and now I have frown lines. And she's like, if you smile a lot, then you're gonna have that joy in your face when you're my age.
Yeah.
And it was just sweet.
That is so sweet.
Well, I was saying, to bring it back to vaginas.
Perfect.
If you have kids, like, you're going to have birth lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have,
Loose
the
skin.
story of, growing older, and the story of many happy nights with your husband. I don't know. But yeah, like it ages, it changes. You gain weight, you lose weight. All of those things affect the way things look, and it's all just a part of being a human on this earth.
Yeah, it's true. And it's all like truly like the battle scars of a woman, the battle scars of womanhood. The oldest boobs I ever measured were 92.
Yes.
Ooh.
And it was
Wow.
incredible. And I was just like, I had a conversation the other day that was like, oh, I'm old. And I'm like, I don't think you're old. I think you just figured it out. Like, I think older people just figure things out. They've lived enough life that they know how to get stuff done, how to support themselves. And the reason I say that is because I feel like as you get older, you lose shame over your body. You're just like, this is it. This is what I'm working with. And that's what, saw full on 92-year-old boobs, and it was incredible. And I was just like, wow, I need to be more like you. Which actually, I would love to hear from you, Sarah, like, as we're talking about aging and womanhood and acceptance, like, what does woman being mean to you?
I think it means showing up as you are authentically in that moment and not reaching to a different season of life you once lived or trying to reach higher to a life you're going to live but you're not actually in, and being organically in the now. Awkward, beautiful, awesome, exciting, boring, everyday Tuesday, whatever that happens to be, and show up authentically in that place. And know that some days might feel like you're having, your beautiful, epic, like, this is the speech of my life that I'm giving kind of moment. And other days you're just going to do laundry and wash your dishes and go home and watch Grays. And that's it. And that's still enough. I think being a woman looks like being present in the present and living fully with, like, your eye on some dreams, your heart grateful for old stories you got to live, but, like, being wherever you happen to actually be. And I think the gift of presence is so lacking in so many people because they're either so busy or so checked out or so frustrated that they don't actually, like, show up in their own life. And no one can actually live your own life except for you. And if you don't live it with an intentionality and purpose, then, like, you're missing it. And the people that we actually look up to and ascribe to want to be are the ones who actually showed the hell up. So one of the biggest intentionalities that I've had, especially since this year has been way different than a lot of us have assumed it would be to, like, show the hell up.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thanks, babe.
It's good. In the short time that I've known you, I feel like you really live that out.
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. And it's a lot to learn from you, I can tell.
Absolutely. So you're just kind of like, you're the friend and, like, big sister that everyone wants. I'm like, I just
as
wanna...
the little sister of my family, I take that as a big compliment.
Thanks. It's true. It's true. So as we're closing up, what plugs do you have?
It's plug time.
It's plug time.
Plug time, plug time, plug time.
Oh my god, I wasn't even ready for how cool. Well, guys, if you're local to Shasta or Tehama County, you can totally get waxed.
Go get waxed.
By
Go
me
see her.
at the Pretty Peach. You can book an appointment by going to the website, theprettypeachwax.com, and it shows all the prices and times and availability, and you can book directly from there. I'm located at 1322 Court Street, Redding, California.
And she's amazing. Honestly, if you think you might want to get waxed, just try it. Try it once.
Yeah.
Like, your eyes will be so open to all things beautiful and vagina and clean and just like, wow, look at my beautiful self.
She cute.
She cute. Also, you have merch.
I do have merch.
She does have merch.
Where can they purchase your merch?
You can buy merch on the website as well as at the studio. I share this shop with Pure Bliss Co. Evelyn Gamba, who happens to be my bestie.
Mm-hmm.
And she has Pure Bliss merch. We have Pretty Peach merch. We basically have all the things.
Yes.
Like hoodies, hats, canvas bags, tees, tanks, whatever you'd like.
All the things.
Nice.
Lots of cute stuff.
You should follow them both. Actually, not should. I would highly encourage you to follow them both on Instagram.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, stay connected with us. Our Instagram is Woman Being Podcast, and our website is womanbeingcommunity.com. We post every day there. We have Woman Crush Wednesdays. We have quotes from our amazing episodes and all the things. So come follow us. Thank you for listening. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you all next time.
Goodbye, woman beings and pretty peaches.
Bye.
I really want to say that.
And see.
Bye.